Hello, everybody. Welcome here on the field at Tiger Stadium at Death Valley in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. My name is Brandon Adams. This is our Kroger kickoff before Georgia gets ready to take on LSU this afternoon at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to bring you the sights and the sounds for what's happening here on the field before kickoff, all courtesy of Kroger, and then, of course, DogNation.com with coverage all day long after that. We'll be live in the forum as well at forum.dognation.com. Hopefully in a couple minutes we'll get a chance to see some of the Georgia players coming back out here for warm-ups. We've seen some of the Georgia specialists, kicker Rodrigo Blankenship already out, and we've seen thousands and thousands of Georgia fans. So far, the day in Louisiana, that is the big story here. Really all around me right now in this lower level of the stadium, on this side of the field at least, near where the Georgia players are going to come onto the field here in just a moment to my left, you see just Georgia fans all over. There are red shakers placed in the lower section here of the bowl at Death Valley, and there is red and black everywhere. Now, not to be confused, there's also a pretty big contingency of purple and gold here, as you might imagine. But according to what some of the Georgia fans I was just talking to were saying, that this is as much of a contingent of away fans as LSU has ever seen here. Dog Nation, which has created quite a reputation for itself in terms of its travel over the last year or so with the Dog Nation invasion, which we're a part of here this weekend, certainly showing up in a big way there in that regard. As we continue here in our Kroger kickoff, as we said, we're going to give you some of the great visuals you see here. It's also a chance for us to interact here a bit as well. I'll take some of your comments on both Facebook and hopefully on YouTube as well, if I can get that dialed up. But we want to talk to you and give you a chance to give your thoughts on the game here before the game kicks off at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And hopefully you're getting ready for a great party here this weekend. And if you are, one of the best ways to stock up for that party is right there at Kroger. Of course, they've got the brand new Kroger Ship program, a great new delivery service that brings the things that you need from Kroger right there to your door. So you can check that out, and you can get even special savings right now in the early days of that program. So make sure you act now by checking out Kroger Ship. And of course, that's a great way to get going here for a wonderful game day party. I'm going to pull up the video here. We'll get some of the comments going, and we'll give you a chance to weigh in with your thoughts on everything happening with Georgia and LSU as a part of our Kroger kickoff and Dog Nation invasion. Also, huge thanks to the rest of the folks who were a part of the Dog Nation invasion with us today. Coming over from New Orleans, great crowd of folks from Kroger and Marlowe's and R.S. Andrews, our friends from Berkshire Hathaway and Skyland Brookhaven. What a great time that's been. Corey Bates checking in from Africa. And I tell you, Corey, as you check in on our Facebook comment section from Africa, it has been so neat to meet so many people from around the country here in Louisiana here today and throughout the weekend in New Orleans who've traveled in from Texas and California and New York and Pennsylvania and Colorado. What a worldwide showing it's been from Dog Nation here for Dog Nation Invasion Weekend this year. As big and as significant as it's ever been. And, of course, you checking in from Africa is just another example of that. You see a lot of folks gathering here. Georgia going to make its way onto the field in just a moment. Charles Felder in our Facebook comment section says, hey, BA, give us an idea of that sea of red. Can we do that? Can we get a little bit of a look at the Georgia fans who are here for a moment? Give us a second. We're going to try to pivot this camera around. I hope I haven't tried to get Connor to do something that's going to be a little too hard to do. But if you look around here right now, you can see Georgia fans all over the place here in the lower section, way up into the to the top part of the lower section. A lot of Georgia jerseys, a whole bunch of Georgia fans here on the field right now. A bunch of Georgia fans here, all gathering near the mouth of the locker room where Georgia's going to take the field here in just a moment. So, Charles, we'll try to give you the best scene on that we can, what the Georgia fans look like here. The red bleachers, the red shakers, they're there on the bleachers. You also hear some cheers coming out here right now as Georgia defensive coordinator Mel Tucker is coming out to shake some hands, and so he's getting ready to make his way on the field, which means the rest of the dogs can't be too far behind. Don Donnelly checking in from Sarasota, Florida. Don, we appreciate you being here today. John Story checking in from Perry, Georgia. John, we appreciate you being here today as a part of our Kroger kickoff. What a unbelievable scene it is, and we'll do our part to make it all here for you here on a part of our Kroger kickoff here today. Jeremy Cropper checking in from Ringgold, Georgia. Jeremy, good to have you with us here, a part of our Kroger kickoff. Petey Wheatstraw says, actually, I'll get back to more comments in a moment. Over here to my left, you see a huge ovation coming as the Georgia team is getting ready to make its way to the field. How about this impromptu dog walk right now? What a sight this is on the field here. Somehow a lot of Georgia fans have gotten access here. And here come the Dogs onto the field, and listen to that ovation. Listen to the ovation as some of the Georgia players start to make their way out for warm-ups here. What an unbelievable scene here as somehow Georgia fans, I don't know why there are like 200 Georgia fans like on the field right now. I don't quite know how this came to be, but they're giving, it's almost like a second dog walk here as Georgia comes onto the field here at Death Valley. It's been that kind of weekend for Dog Nation Invasion. You can't go anywhere without seeing a big collection of the Georgia Bulldogs, even here on the field in Death Valley. Unbelievable sight. I see Tyler Simmons coming on behind me here. We'll get a chance to see some of these warm-ups here in just a moment. I also want to take some more of your comments. I thought Petey Wheatstraw had a great comment earlier in our Facebook comment section saying, what was the vibe, BA, that you got from Georgia when they entered the stadium today? For me, and I do the dog walk every single week, I thought the vibe you got from the dog walk today was a very different kind of thing. I'll give you an example here. The first face you almost always see for any dog walk is Georgia coach Kirby Smart. And in Athens, Kirby is always really good about finding the little fans, the children along the rail there, and almost anyone who goes to the dog walk in Athens is really good about letting the kids get to the front. You know, the adults always make room for the kids. Even the Red Coat Band will step aside and let kids even come in front of the band. And Kirby, when he walks through, is high-fiving all those guys and gals, those young children, as he comes by the railing. There was none of that from Smart here today. There weren't as many kids around, but there was none of that from Smart today. Not really smiling, not really playing to the crowd whatsoever. Almost looked like a boxer on his way to the ring. This is a guy that's played in this stadium a lot before. As an assistant coach at Alabama, for the first time here today as a Georgia coach. Of course, as a player going back to 1998, he was a big part of a Georgia win against a top 10 ranked LSU here at the time. Kirby Smart has got the history and the backstory to know just how tough it can be to play at Death Valley here in LSU. And the look that he had on his face today gave you the indication that he's ready for what's coming next here. An unbelievable scene from Kirby when he walked out today. If you missed our dog walk video, I'd invite you to check that out. When this video is done, you can go back to YouTube or Facebook and see our Kroger Kickoff coverage of the dog walk here this morning or earlier this afternoon. You can get a chance to see more of that. Let me get more of our comments here. We'll also get ready to allow you to see some of the Georgia warm-ups as they get ready to go here. I'll maybe step out of the camera in a moment and give people a chance to see some more of that. In fact, why don't I do that right now? I'll step out and let Connor get a better scene here of some of the warm-ups as they're taking place. If you look right there in the end zone, you see a collection of the Georgia wide receivers. Akil Crumpton, McCole Hardman Jr., who just fielded a punt. I see Kieris Jackson, the freshman wide receiver. Of course, Jeff Sintel will have more coverage at DogNation.com and in the forum today at forum.dognation.com in terms of the freshmen that make the trip as a part of the 70-man roster. Of course, Terry Godwin, who had a 75-yard touchdown pass against Vanderbilt last week. He's a big part of all of this. Let me get some more comments here. Nakia Hester checking in. Michelle Carol Wild says, Wrightsville, Georgia pulling for our dogs. Of course, longtime dog fans know Wrightsville is the home of the legendary Herschel Walker, the goal line stalker, so it makes only appropriate sense that we'll be hearing from Wrightsville here today. Good stuff there. Jennifer Lloyd Parade says, let's go dogs, let's do this. Good stuff there. Burlington, North Carolina checking in with Jason Mattis. Appreciate that. Rusty Collins says, let's do this thing, dogs. Excellent stuff there. Appreciate you coming in. Appreciate that. Of course, Georgia continuing its warm-ups here. A lot going on there. Jake Fromm on the field here. He's getting some warm-ups going here. I see Justin Fields over there at the middle of the field near the goal line. He's having a good time here. An unbelievable sight here on the ground here for the dog walk here. Unbelievable sight. I should say for warm-ups here as a part of our Kroger Kickoff. Huge thanks to Kroger for making all of this possible. Of course, we wouldn't be able to do this without them. And as I said, if you're getting ready for a game day party today, or if you've been tailgating in Baton Rouge, I know that you know the best place to get your game day essentials is right there at Kroger. And we appreciate them being here today for the Kroger Kickoff. Of course, Georgia been more than a touchdown favorite all week, kind of fluctuating between 8 and 7.5 and 7. That's been kind of the spot here. Of course, we also know that we also know that LSU has been a tough place for opposing teams to win and play at. We know that's been true in the past, and that's going to be true for Georgia here right now. You can see Justin Fields right there in the middle of the end zone. A lot of Georgia fans certainly curious to see what Fields' role in all this is going to be here today. We'll obviously be paying attention to a lot of that kind of stuff. I'm also going to try to read some more of your comments here. John Anthony says, Death Dog checking in on the Fromm and Fields here from Dalton, Georgia. Yeah, good stuff there from Fromm and Fields there as they continue their warm-ups. Of course, Georgia offensive coordinator Jim Chaney out there as well. He's going through his paces with them. So a really cool thing to be able to see right now. If you're just joining us, my name is Brandon Adams. This is our Kroger Kickoff live on the field here. Death Valley Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. An incredible scene here with thousands of Georgia fans already in the building getting ready for action here today. The Georgia team behind me going through their paces and warm-ups here. Of course, kickoff comes up at 3:30 Eastern time, which is about an hour and a half away here, or I should say about a half an hour away here. We're looking forward to having a whole lot more of that. Suzanne Linehan Buckner says she's checking in from San Antonio, Texas. We appreciate you being here in San Antonio and hope you're having a good time getting ready to watch the dogs a little bit later on. Thanks so much here. Andy Dunnigan checking in from Bartow, Florida. Andy, good to have you with us. Charles Felder's got a prediction. If you want to send some more predictions our way, we'll take those here as a part of our Kroger Kickoff as well. 34-13, he says. I'm calling the dogs to win today, and I'm calling it now. Ken Feinberg says, is it hot on the field? Ken, it's hotter right now than it's been at any point in time in Louisiana so far this week. In New Orleans on Thursday afternoon and Thursday night and all day yesterday, temperatures were incredibly mild. Now, obviously, you've got buildings there to create wind tunnels. You've got some trees and buildings that generate some shade. Baton Rouge is almost entirely flat ground. We're obviously an open air, field here. I don't know if it's just attracting more heat, but it has been much hotter today in Baton Rouge than it has been at any point in time in New Orleans over the last 2 days. I think temperature is expected to be somewhere around 83 degrees by kickoff. To me, it feels right now like a humid 83, and it feels like there is a pretty intense sun coming down here. So I was under the impression it was going to be a little cooler in Georgia this weekend. It is, and it's been cooler in Louisiana as well, but not right now. It is hot. You probably even see some sweat beating off my head here a little bit. Hotter right now than it's been, all week long. Matt Rudy says, checking in from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Matt, we appreciate you watching here on our Kroger Kickoff, getting ready for Georgia and LSU coming up. Robert Sharp says, how about this? We're 45 miles away from Gainesville, Florida. You can't be in much more enemy territory than that, but checking in, getting ready to watch the dogs here right now. So really good stuff there. As I'm going to step here. I got a little close to the field there, so security nice enough to ask us politely to step away from that a little bit. So I'll step away, get a little farther away from the field to make sure I don't get in trouble here. The staff here at LSU, the security, the university personnel, they've been incredibly accommodating for us the entire day here today, helping us get set up to do the things that we need to do. So we certainly appreciate that. Eric Moody says, did the stadium smell like corn dogs? Of course, you know that old joke about LSU. I guess that's to be expected here. Austin Kilby says, how about some LSU players to look out for? Austin, for me, the LSU players that I think you're going to want to pay the most attention to today are guys on the defensive side of the football. Whether it be the interior linebacker Devin White, who right now, much like Roquan Smith was a year ago, I think you could say that Devin White's probably a Butkus Award candidate. He's one of the most impactful interior linebackers in the entire SEC. Grant Delpit, the safety. Right now, I think that Delpit's probably in contention for a Bednarik Award. He's potentially a finalist for one of the National Defensive Players of the Year. He's had that kind of impact for LSU. And, of course, when you also think about the LSU secondary, you don't just think about Grant Delpit. You also think about the outstanding cornerback Greedy Williams. It's a challenge for the Georgia offense here today because those three names, Williams and White and Delpit, you have to game plan for them. You have to know where they are at all times. And so that's exactly what you think about. On offense, LSU's a little bit more of a mystery. Of course, you know that last year LSU was led by offensive coordinator Matt Canada. And of course, you hear behind me the familiar Krypton theme. And one of the cool things you see right now is the Krypton theme plays. Georgia fans, arms in the air, red shakers all over the place. An unbelievable moment here as the Red Coat Band will play for the first time here today. Georgia cheerleaders off to my right. A beautiful scene, beautiful moment here. Some of the Georgia players going back into the locker room. A new crop of Georgia players coming. Here comes Georgia coach Kirby Smart, and the Red Coat Band will fire up as more Georgia players come onto the field for warm-ups here. Thank you so much for being a part of our Kroger Kickoff for an electric scene on Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge, Louisiana in Death Valley. This stadium is already at a fever pitch, and we're still about a half an hour away from kickoff. I don't know if Dog Nation's going to make it here, but it's going to be an incredible Saturday afternoon. As more of the Georgia players come on the field here, I'll finish the point that I was making a moment ago about the LSU offense. It's been a bit enigmatic so far this season. Matt Canada was last year's offensive coordinator. For the most part, LSU fans were dissatisfied with him. There was some turmoil between Canada and head coach Ed Orgeron. There was some turmoil between Ed Orgeron and offensive coordinator Matt Canada. Canada was replaced at the end of the season. The LSU offensive coordinator now is Steve Ensminger. Ensminger, longtime Georgia fans will remember, as an offensive coordinator at Georgia back in the early 90s. The offense for LSU this season was supposed to be different. It was supposed to incorporate the quarterback in the passing game more. For the most part, that still hasn't really happened. Joe Burrow, the Ohio State graduate transfer, has been safe but not particularly dynamic. Threw his first interception a week ago against Florida of the season, but the interception was costly. It led to a loss, LSU's first of the season. So the LSU offense that you'll see today is still an LSU offense that looks very much like the one a year ago did under Matt Canada, and then the LSU offense did for many years when Les Miles was still head coach and Cam Cameron was calling the plays. So for today, in what some are saying could be a close, tightly contested ball game, if it is, it's likely a physical game. If Georgia can score 30 points, and I thought that Jeff Sintel made a great point about this yesterday on Dog Nation Daily. If Georgia can score 30 points, not only will it win, it may win easily. But whatever you want to subtract from that 30 number, 27, 24, as few as 21, the lower Georgia goes below that threshold, that demarcation of 30 points, the more likely it becomes that this becomes a very close, tight game, and the very physical LSU team could be in part of this for the long haul here. So that's certainly something we're looking forward to seeing a whole lot more for. And once again, I am amazed at how many Georgia fans and Georgia people have made their way on the sidelines here at Death Valley. This is an unusual scene for me to see this many red and black people on at a away sideline. It's kind of an amazing thing, kind of an amazing thing to see here. Let me see if I can take a moment to grab Jeff Sintel. Jeff Sintel, you got a second here for our Kroger Kickoff here. What do you think about the scene here on the field and all the Georgia fans that are already in the stadium here and the noise they're already making here?
So number one, don't allow yourself to ever excuse yourself out of not coming to Tiger Stadium in Death Valley. It is a bucket list trip. You walk in, you see a mini jumbo, a small jumbo, an extra large jumbo across LSU. It is loud. You cannot say you are a hardcore SEC fan unless you have seen a football game in this venue. You got to come here.
All right, really quickly before we let you go, because we know you got a lot of stuff to do, how about on the field, X's and O's wise? Give me your final thought here on this game. This will be the last time we hear from you until either the game's going on there in the Forum or after the game's over for our Northside Hospital post-game show. What's your final thought here on the game?
Well, it's interesting. Right now, the reporter tribe is looking over your shoulder, and you're seeing who's here, who's not here. No Tommy Bush, no Matt Landers. You see a backup punter now, a second punter, Landon Stratton as well. You also see no Notori Johnson, but you do see true freshman Owen Condon here today and dressed out. That's the first time he's made the 70-man roster, the travel roster for Georgia, after making his first appearance as a Bulldog last week. That's some interesting news right there.
There'll be more of that in the Forum all throughout the game, forum.dognation.com. I'll see you after the game as well with Jeff Sintel for our Northside Hospital post-game show. Thanks for watching our Kroger Kickoff. Don't forget, use Kroger Ship for your game day party. You'll save and you'll get all the essentials you need. We'll talk to you during the game in the Forum at forum.dognation.com after the game as well. Thanks for being a part of our Dog Nation Invasion coverage of the Kroger Kickoff. Enjoy the game, everybody.